Hi Nick, I'm Pedro from Cartelera, Spain. How are you?
Hey Pedro, how are you? Good, I'm fine, thank you.
I'm great, thank you. Congratulations on the movie. First of all, I had a blast watching this film as a fan of the original. I loved the adaptation. And Gobber is such a great character. You captured the spirit of the original so well, so congratulations on that as well.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah, this version, though, I feel like is a bit different in the sense that I feel like Dean enhanced his role as a mentor much more, among other things. What was it like playing a teacher to the young cast and sharing that many scenes with them?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think having, I always felt like I was like a young man, and then when you get on set and you realize you're 53 and the kids are really young, I kind of felt a bit old. I didn't know what top tick was or this thing they were talking about. But I think I'm a father myself, to 3 children. And I think being a dad to certainly to Mason was something that just kind of happened, And I think I found myself as a person, as Nick Frost, wanting to protect Mason Thames, And so I think that showed up a lot more on camera. I think there's a really lovely moment which we improvised, which Dean left in, but when I just look at Mason, I say, "Knock 'em dead, son." That was that was essentially me talking to Mason, not Gobber talking to Hiccup,
And he brings humor as well, but in a way that's a bit subtle and effortless. How did you work on that? How to approach the comedic tone of the character in a version that has to be less cartoonish, to put it in a way?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think shooting, shooting the way we did leads itself to a smaller performance, because at some point it's going to be 200 feet wide on an IMAX theater screen, So I think the beauty of that and the beauty of cinema is you can be really small, and I think that suited everything that Mason did, and also the connection between Gobber and Mason. That should be small, that should be just a look, or it can be played like that. And I think in terms of the comedy, it's Mason. He's funny. He's a funny person, The way he moves is funny to me. Watching him, kick something across the floor was funny, and he's very grounded, and he's very humble, and he works hard, and he's not afraid of anything on the set. I think if like an old man had come to me when I was just starting out and saying, "I want to try this. Let's do this. I'm going to use this prop. Let's improvise this," I'd probably shitting myself. But he wasn't that at all. He was like, "Let's do it. Let's have fun."
I get a sense that you connected on a deep level with Mason, right?
Yeah, I did. I didn't. That came very organically too. It was just like a lot of the time we just sit around and laugh, and I try and make him laugh, and it was just people on a set who like one another and want to support each other and make the best film possible. And I think that comes from Dean. I think that comes from the top down, in terms of he was such a supporting, loving father figure to all of us. A lot of the times he'd come up to me, and I'd never had this before, that a director would come up and he'd give you a little cuddle, and he'd be like, you want a drink? You all right? You hungry? And I'm like, "No, I'm good, man. I'm fine." He was nice. Very, I think when the top is very nurturing, I think it makes that come down through the cast and the crew,
One thing that I love about the original is how it represents people with disabilities, right? Not only Hiccup with his paralysis with Toothless, but also Gobber, who turns his disabilities literally into weapons. This is very, very present in this version as well. What was it like playing that aspect of the character?
Yeah, I mean, I love the fact that he just because he doesn't have an arm and a leg, he's not disabled at all. He absolutely uses that to his advantage. And I just kind of love the fact that yes, he's physically disabled, but he's not played like that. And I think that's probably a better representation of disability that I've seen in terms of, you know, it isn't a disability. It's just how that is, you know, I think in some cases.